Linux and free open source software 2021 first half of the year. I don't have too much to say about Linux and open source software as far as things that I've been doing new up to this point. Just about everything is a short recap. A couple months ago, I found out that Descent 3 plays on Linux. It's an old PC game, in space fighter jet type game where you're in first person and you're trying to collect things, do some puzzles here and there, shooting at a bunch of stuff, and you're on all these other planets flying around in huge space stations and stuff. I enjoyed it for the nostalgia of it. Reminds me of when I was a kid. It's made in the 90s and they ported it. I got a playthrough or a gameplay of that on my YouTube channel. That'll be linked in the description below. It's on Steam, by the way. Just putting that out there. Second on the list, cPanel Alternatives blog. I wrote this a few months ago as a very late response to the changes to cPanel pricing that happened, I think, 2 years ago. So I was curious with changes to cPanel, that the Linux server software management suite. What would a lot of Linux system administrators, server administrators, resellers, people who buy or purchase web hosting space and sell website hosting to other people, what would they be using? And plenty of people said Plesk. I've never used Plesk, but I know it was popular back in the day, at least a good over 10 years ago. Others didn't seem to really care. The only one that comes to my mind that I've used was Webmin. That was tinkering around with it. Didn't care too much for it. It did the job. It is free, unlike Plesk or cPanel, which you're usually paying for within a web hosting subscription. But it's an option. But yeah, and I'll put the link in there in the description in case you want to read about all the different alternatives and options and what could be best for you depending on where you are as far as technical skill or your needs, because not everybody's going to care and not everybody needs cPanel. If you have a website, some people are just going to need a hosting provider that gives them the website. That way you can go from there, whether it's WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, similar to the Shopify's, Squarespace, and Wix. There's lots of options, and I talk about a lot of that stuff in that blog. A random app that I found out about. I'm super happy I found it, and it's the one new application I've started using this year. Blanket. It's a noise and ambience generator for Linux. For anybody that may have used, I think Noisely.com or mynoise.net, it does the same thing. It's super simple. You have, it's just an option for, I think, the fireplace, train station, a busy market, waves, the ocean waves, wind, bugs, and you control the volume, everything to get what you need at that time. The only issue I had with it last time I used it was you can't save preset volume combinations of the stuff, but they've added a lot of stuff in there, a lot of different options that I'm forgetting about. But it's super awesome. If you're a Linux user, check it out. I'll put links in there in the description for anybody that's curious about it, because if you forget that, it might be pretty hard to find it. Just saying, noise generator. And finally, I did a YouTube video, kind of a walkthrough on CryptPad Kanban for private Agile project management. I really like Kanbans. I've liked them since I was in college, for small projects that'll go for a couple months. I think they're great because it visualizes everything that needs to happen and the status of everything. You don't have a bunch of mess that you don't really care about. If you have a project, you need to do a bunch of things. You want to be able to assign it to people, have it color coded, have it so you can easily see what stage is everything in many times. At least the projects I've been a part of. And Kanbans make that very easy. I've been a fan of CryptPad for 5 years. I used it in a lot of college projects. I did a YouTube video on the presentation app they have. So I did a little walkthrough on how to use a Kanban, how to use their Kanban, CryptPad. And by the way, for those of you that have a Linux server, you can install it on your own. You don't have to go to the website cryptpad.fr and use it there. You can install it on your own server, have your own personal CryptPad installation and use how you see fit. I thought it was super awesome. I put my gripes and compliments about it all in that app. I don't remember anything about it because I'm not using it at the moment. But as you can probably tell by checking out my YouTube channel, I've been focused on music production. That's been where all my focus is. So not too much going on as far as Linux and open source software or cybersecurity. I don't have anything new to say about my experience or what I've learned about cybersecurity because I'm not doing much with any of that right now. But again, if you have questions about Linux, open source software, cybersecurity, website security, stuff like that, you ping me a comment or hit me up on Twitter or something, ask some questions. I'll do my best to try to get to it as soon as possible and give you some. If I don't have a good answer, I can hopefully be able to at least get you to someone who does have a good answer. So that's all I got here. Thanks for listening. Take care. Go live lively.